Good evening, everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about how to get into coding. So, um, the first point I want to hit off is that this is a video that's going to be not only tailored towards people who are um, looking to jump into coding, not only maybe as a career choice, but also for fun. Maybe making things for video games or personal projects that you find interesting or enjoyable. And then also those who need to be using this stuff for utility. So this might be your people trying to set up home networks, trying to set up their own little Arduino bots, that sort of deal. So the first thing I'm going to jump into is the first thing, career. Right. So I think a lot of the people that are going to be watching this video are going to be from the 5M realm, right? But coding isn't just about like, hey, I'm going to learn Lua and I'm just going to make games. Like, no, you can do a whole lot more. A lot of games now, they support coding for things like C++. Even 5M, they support C++, and this is a great way to, hey, like you can learn a lot of stuff. If you go on here, right, we not only make Lua, okay, Lua is a language, it's a scripting one. Sure, you can find a career based on Lua, right? Like you can code Lua, that can be your thing. But in reality, things like C++, C Sharp, and JavaScript are really what companies are looking for right now. And this is just a great way to jump into that and be like, all right, well, wow, I can code stuff for a video game and be learning like important tools that I might be able to use later down the road. And then, so these are thinking of your intentions. What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to just make something for fun? What are you going to get out of this? How much effort are you going to be putting into it? For me, I started this way back on, what was it? On this website, right? I started with Gary's mod. I started with Lua. And it ended up expanding into something completely different. But this was just such a great way for me to get jumped into all of this stuff. I started selling things. I started making money just from learning this tool. Yeah. So when you get started, like anything, you need to start small. Now, this is my REPL page. REPL is a website that allows you to run code for free. If I just went here, right, let's say I'm gonna make a Lua project, right? It starts it up, and let's go like print hello world. Hello world. You can have different files, different folders, different extensions into it, and you can do a lot with this. And I've spent many hours on this website. If we go back to my old account, right, like when I first started doing this stuff, it wasn't just in game, it wasn't just, making, a new file, like fxman or what if you're old resource.lua. Like, this isn't coding. Like, this isn't all of that. If you really want to learn how to implement this stuff and make it useful, you're just gonna code to code. You don't need to do it for a game. You just need to learn it. I've spent many hours going on Stacked, going on different websites, just trying to learn this different stuff. Now, go back 4 years ago when I first started this stuff. Let's see, Computer Maker. Let's see what this is. I doubt it'll even load. But this just kind of shows, like I had some Gary's mod stuff, but I had so many different things on here. Just that were incredibly old. Looks like it's a little too old. Let's see. I don't know what any of this is. Minigame. We're testing. Whatever this is. Let's see if it'll load. Right, like I wasn't coding just for games. Like I was in school. I had to come up with sly ways to come up with excuses. So I just coded stuff like this, and this is really just a beautiful way to start. It's just to find things to do. Just be like, all right, I'm gonna make a little chess game, or I'm gonna make a little quiz, and then it's gonna tell my friend how gay he is, stuff like that. And it's a fun little way to begin to incorporate this stuff into your daily language, and it really makes it solid in your head. It really drives all these things home, and it allows you to understand all this stuff a lot better. And then I started I started using this stuff more for utility. I started giving myself challenges. Let's see if I can find this on here. I actually did my homework with Lua. Was it this one? God, no, it does not look like it. It's on here somewhere. I apologize that this is taking so long. Is it sales? I'm not sure. No, not this. Let's see here. Huh. I'm gonna have to cut this out of the video. Let's see, French. Homework. Not that one, not that one, not that one, not that one. Probably, maybe this one. 10 months ago seems a little bit long. Oh, okay, no, okay. This is the one. And, yeah, it did my homework for me. So this kind of shows, like, hey, like, you can start to incorporate this stuff, and, granted, this is not, like, the most complicated code out there. But it just goes to show, like, now, it'll come up with pretty randomized, sets of data. So, you can use this stuff in your daily life. You can use it to make your life easier. Code. It really, like, it's a tool at the end of the day. That's why these games use it, is because it is a tool for you to use. So, I started doing this stuff a lot more, and this just really helped. It really did. It made things feel more real. It connected the real world to this coding. It made it be like, oh, I understand this. I see how even things in the real world, like, even though it might not be a computer, it's still, runs on sets of if, then, and and statements, and you really begin to see, like, and your brain begins to tick in a different way, where it's like, oh, I'm understanding this, almost like it really is just like learning another language. Funny how the analogy for this is, it's a French, it is a language, and learning the code is really learning another language. Your brain begins to think differently, and that's just something that's really awesome about coding. So again, I just want to reiterate: know what you're going to be doing this for. If you're just here to have fun, and for any application, you have to start somewhere. This can be as simple as looking up, like, how do I code Lua? Right? You can just type that in on Google. How do I code Lua? Programming in Lua. Or let's say, how do I code Python? Python is another great language. It is similar. It's very similar to Lua. But they're not very similar, but they do have a lot of commonalities. And so you can see, like, hey, how do I do this? Right? Bam, Python for beginners. Or hey, how do I learn dot dot dot, you replace those dot dot dots, and you can come up with anything. It really is quite wonderful. So again, you just want to start and try to incorporate the stuff every single day. Just practice a little bit. If you're out of ideas, you're like, hey, what am I going to use this for? If you're in school right now, I'm thankfully out of it, but if you're in school, just say, like, hey, how can I do my homework with this? I'm gonna just make something. I'll just put in a question, and it'll do my homework for me. That's a great way to start. Or say, hey, like, say you're out of school, be like, all right, well, I'm into cars. I'm gonna come up with a thing where I can enter in, like, a few numbers, and it'll give me a different car every time. There's a lot of different stuff you can do, and as long as you can imagine it, you can do it. If you wanted to make a whole like video game in Lua and just the command line, you could totally do that. But it's just about how far you're willing to go with this stuff. Uh, there's things that I see on like the 5M forums, and even just different game forums that just kind of amazes me. I'm like, wow, like I would have never thought about that. And lastly, so now that we've got this, this is something that I think every single person who programs, codes, scripts, anyone that works with a computer language, we all do this, and I wouldn't really call it like copying, but every little bit of code that you see out there is most likely like it's very often it's probably not going to be original, like this, right? I didn't come up with this. Like there was no way. Like this is batch, this is batch. Like I didn't know how to code this, but I needed it. Like I made this in one day. This is a GTA 4 to GTA 5 converter, and it was extremely like I just was typing in like how do I like run a folder, and I was like, oh, how do I change the parameter, and then so on and so forth, and I just kept Googling this stuff enough where I like got enough bits and pieces that I had what I needed. Grant, it took me like 8 hours, 10 hours to make, and I did not get off my computer the entire time. But the important lesson here is that if you need to do something, if you're like inconvenienced by something on a computer or something that you're doing in your daily life, you can use code to improve that. I was just doing EUP files, right? And I got sick of having to manually rename like a whole folder, and I just created this, and basically, yeah, it just renames your files for you. It adds a prefix to everything. So if you needed to do like, I don't know, like fucking MP under super rocker _2, and then it's like, I don't know, sure.ytd, shit like that. I just had it so it would mass name that prefix, and this just kind of shows like, even though I didn't know batch, programming still really helps. It kind of brings everything together and allows you to understand a lot of different languages you don't really know. So programming is incredibly useful. I recommend that anyone get into it if you have not already. If you're in something that requires a lot of scripts and code, you should definitely learn that instead of relying on others. It's really something awesome, and I've kind of fallen in love with it. It's really fun. Now, granted, do I post a lot of stuff very often? No, not at all. But the reason I did that is because it's like, well, if I'm going to put something out there, I want it to be perfect, and not all the time things are going to be perfect. So I just don't put a lot of stuff out there, but like all of this, like this is something that I worked on, and it's fun, this stuff. So again, you should definitely, anyone out there, definitely start with the basics, incorporate it in your life. Find other uses for code, and then really like put all this knowledge together and say like, oh, I want to make a fire script. You now have the tools and resources to do so, and don't skip out. Right when you're going in here and you see all the different chapters, don't skip a section. Tables, extremely important. Learning how to cycle through an array, learning how arrays work, how IDs work in arrays. Play around with this stuff. Find what breaks it. Find what works. Find what's really fucking weird, because code is fucking weird. Alright, in Lua, when you have an array, each one has an ID unless you assign a string as the ID, and that just kind of fucks everything around, even though it still has an ID. Like, there's so much weird shit with coding that's just fun, and it's intriguing. And it's like, oh, I wonder why this works. I'm not sure why it fucking works, but it works. You find that stuff every day when you code. Yeah, I recommend, don't try to say like, oh, I'm gonna I'm gonna program this, and it's some incredible, massive project, and you'd have very little experience. Don't do that. There's 4 stages to learning everything, right? You have stage one. Right now, you don't know much. If this is your knowledge, and this is your fucking goal, right? Let's say like this is a fucking diamond. Oh, I'm really bad at drawing, right? Let's just pretend, that's a diamond or whatever. Whatever this is. This is a big fucking goal. Let's just add 9s in there. If this is where you are, you cannot make this. Instead, let's say like, hey, this is how much you know. This is how much you're gonna make. Work your way up. Get to that goal. Get to, hey, what do I want to make? Let's not just say like, oh, I'm gonna start big. No, start small. It's okay. It's okay being small. It's okay starting small. That's important. Hey, we all started somewhere. I mean, how do you think all these people got to where they are? They started small, and then they got bigger. It's all about that development. And there are 4 stages to this. In the beginning, you'll really be enthusiastic. This is called, what is the word? It's forming, right? You're still forming your capabilities. You're relatively new. You're like a little, you're a little dude. You're like, I'm gonna learn this stuff. You're still forming it. And then after that, you're fucking frustrated. You have no clue what you're doing still, but now you're just frustrated. That fun little first beginning area where everything's new. Well, now you're just struggling. Now you can't figure it out, right? Now you're fucking mad, right? Like, you're just like throwing a fucking tantrum. You're like, oh my god, this shit sucks. And we've all been there. We've all wanted to quit. Then you have norming, right? You're getting better. Things are getting easier. You're becoming a little bit more proficient with it. You got your fucking book right here. You have like stacked IO always in a tab. Fucking, I'm bad at this. and then finally, you are at the very end. You are pair 4 Ming. In this, you have a big fucking smile on your face. This is the final stage of stuff where you have lots of knowledge, and things are good and fun. And at this stage, it's high. It's increasing knowledge and so this is, we don't have a lot of we have a lot of enthusiasm, right? But we have no clue what we're doing. Then we have no enthusiasm and no knowledge still, and now we're rising, and now we're performing. Now we're winning. We're doing this stuff, and we're having fun with it. And hey, it's okay. Like even once you're at that last stage, you're still not going to be some crazy script developer. You're still not going to be the best, and that's all right. It's okay not being the best. It's what's good is doing your best. What's good is, making quality items, making things that are of quality and that are genuinely interesting and fun. So I know this video is more of me rambling, but I really just wanted to put it out there because this is something that I'm really passionate about. Is that anyone can do this. It's not difficult. You just need to know where to start. So again, start small and work your way up. Anyways, though, this is Syme Robinson. I've been coding Lua for the past fucking 6-8 years now. Yeah, I'm a developer. I do 5M shit. But outside of that, I have fun with other stuff. You know, I code daily in my life. It helps with everything, and yeah. So, anyways, feel free to join my Discord. Um, it is it is called Don't Die. I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat. Anyways, guys, this is Syme Robinson. I'm gonna be getting off. Have a good rest of your day, and I'm gonna include some of these links in the description on where to start programming. So, again, thank you for watching, everybody, and have a good rest of your day. Peace out.